You are traveling to another train of thought, one not from this century. You are entering the paradigm shift.
Well, good morning. This is February 7th, 2018, and we are getting a little bit of a late start with the attempt last time. We had a major media file meltdown, and so here we are. We'll try it again. And joining me in the room here, in the virtual studio with me is Suzanne Sherman. She may chime in at some point during the show, I'm sure. Well, this is the Paradigm Shift, and I am also streaming live. So you're going to see the radio show on Facebook Live. Welcome to the Facebook Live viewers. This is the Paradigm Shift, and this is the Cerberus Radio Network. We are on radio.co. You can just look us up under Cerberus Radio Network. If you don't want to do that, look for us on Facebook, Cerberus Radio Network. We have a Facebook page. There's a button there that says Use App. It'll take you right to Radio Co. You can listen to us on the radio station. This is radio. We do this also on YouTube. That, at this point, is our RSS feed for those of you that are tech savvy. We don't have a RSS feed set up yet. If you want to watch all the episodes, we have the Renegade and Rambler show. That's the original show. That's Daniel Bailey and I, and we do that live on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. We also have this show, The Paradigm Shift. This was the second show that was added to the network. This is just my show. Daniel's at work on weekdays. We're live every Monday morning. We're live, except for this week because I had engagements at work. I had training, so I had to be there during the day hours. I'm usually evenings. Then also, after that, we added the Wasatch Report, which is Suzanne Sherman. She's in Utah, and she lives in the Wasatch Range. She does everything from prepping to politics. She will be on immediately following the show at 10 a.m. Eastern, and she has a great guest lined up, Ben McClintock, with the, I believe it's Defending Utah is the name of the group he's with. And they're going to be talking FISA, all kinds of stuff. It'll be very good. He's an excellent guest. I heard him yesterday on another show. So he is very, very good. And don't miss her show at 10 a.m. Let's see. And then Daniel added the Bailey Report. He's on usually around 6:30 in the mornings. He drives all night, and he does his show before he goes to bed. And so he's on at early mornings. So we do have some live shows. We are attempting to get some more. We also have we have the Brushfires of Freedom at 1 p.m. every day. And immediately following his show, because he's on terrestrial radio, we have a long pause. We've added the Shift Gold Friday Gold Wrap-Up. It's a podcast every Friday wrapping up economic news. So between 1 and 2, you have the Brushfires of Freedom, then the Shift Gold Friday Gold Wrap-Up. So we have quite a lineup on our radio station. So go to Radio Co. or to our Facebook page and hit the app and listen to our radio show. There's always something on. Now, enough of that. And again, this is the Cerberus Radio Network. Let me find my prep stuff here today. I'm going to start off with a little bit of Pennsylvania news because, well, I live in Pennsylvania. But it's got some implications for everyone across this union. The first thing I wanted to touch on today, there is another effort here in Pennsylvania to raise the minimum wage again. If it's not bad enough, they're also talking about raising the taxes again on the natural gas industry. They pretty much chased everyone out. I think the only driller left in Pennsylvania now is Shell Oil. They're still drilling for natural gas. They've chased everyone else out with their first round of taxes. Now they're going to add another round of taxes, and they'll chase Shell out too. Everyone's already talking about it. If they pass this, they're gone. And there goes the rest of those good jobs that people had, so they can ruin some more jobs. And if that's not enough, now they want to raise the minimum wage. Here we go. This is from ABC 27. And this the title of this article is "Supporters Make Another Push for Minimum Wage Hike" for all you English-speaking listeners. This is Harrisburg, PA. A push continues at the state capitol for Pennsylvania to raise the minimum wage. Pennsylvania's minimum wage currently is at $7.25 an hour. Senate Bill 1044 would raise it to $15 an hour. So, down the road from me is a little town called Troy, Pennsylvania. It's a tiny hole in the wall. I'm sure none of you have heard of it unless you live around here. I know there's one watcher in Facebook that's from this area, so I'm sure he's heard of it. Anyway, that little McDonald's in Little Troy, Pennsylvania, a little store, has 4 kiosks out in the lobby now. So you go over there and you do all your order, pay out there, and then someone at the counter will hand you your meal. Just as taxes on the natural gas industry is chasing jobs away, good paying jobs, now with this effort, the state of Pennsylvania is going to chase away all these minimum wage jobs. The fact of the matter is, it's simple economics. The business is not going to stay in business very long if their costs exceed their revenues. You can't. That's a hard and fast rule. They can't. They're not like government. Businesses are not like government. They can't print their own money and print their way out of a deficit. Neither can government. They think they can, but eventually it's going to come back to hit them. It's impossible for them to do it. They think they can. But businesses can't just print money. Businesses can borrow for a short time, but at some point, that even will catch up to them. Unlike the federal government, who's nearly $21 trillion in debt now. And that's going to be a story later. We're going to talk about that issue as well today. So, Pennsylvania now wants to raise the minimum wage to $15. That will raise costs. So there's only 2 ways McDonald's is going to absorb that nearly doubling of, well, it is doubling, $7.25. It's more than doubling the minimum wage. So when they more than double the minimum wage, McDonald's down there in Little Troy, Pennsylvania, has 2 ways they can deal with that. Either that Big Mac that was $4 will now have to be $8, or they're going to get rid of people. And actually, what's going to happen, it's going to be a combination of both. They're going to raise prices, and they're going to get rid of people. Because, just remember what I just said. They put 2 kiosks. It's 2-sided, so that you can be on either side. There's 4 stations now at Troy, Pennsylvania, for you to do your own orders. You will never see a human being to place an order in McDonald's when this passes. You will see a human being to hand you a bag. They'll have a guy out back putting the stuff together. They'll have a guy in the drive-through. The guy in the back, you know how it used to be, there's 2, you go pay at 1 and then go to number 2 and you're going to pay? That's going to be gone. You're going to do everything there. So now the line's going to be longer. It's going to take you longer to get through there because there's only going to be 1 guy because they can't afford to have 2. They're going to cut these guys out. There's going to be about 4 people there, and that McDonald's doing what now is probably 8 people doing it. They're going to get rid of all these jobs. People are going to lose their jobs. It's going to cost more for everything. There are consequences. Government meddling in something they're not supposed to be involved in has consequences. This isn't a zero sum. I mean, they can't just do whatever they want without some sort of consequence. It's just like the federal government. They can't borrow money forever. Look at how Europe, we have a good example. Look at Greece. Look at the unrest they had a few years ago because of their government trying to pass some austerity. Because at some point, even our governments are going to have to pass some sort of austerity. They can't continue to spend forever. there will come a time when they have to do something. There's no way they can continue to spend without any consequence. Well, it's about 20 after. I'm going to just reset here a little bit and welcome all you that are listening to the Cerberus Radio Network. And this is The Paradigm Shift, and I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. The Cerberus Radio Network, we defend liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny. I'm going to take my break a little late. I may only take one break because we got such a late start with the meltdown of my media files this morning. It just was a very interesting day on radio. Producing my own show and doing it does have some pitfalls every once in a while because there's not someone in the background that can do all this while I'm freaking out on air. So all of you guys that were watching the first segment, you saw me with the blank look on my face because all of a sudden I had no idea what was going on. So again, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm going to continue to run it. I'm going to try this today. I am doing this in a different way. I'm running it through my dad on the phone, and that way I'm not stealing the internet from YouTube because YouTube is sucking up a lot of the Wi-Fi here. So we were talking the minimum wage here in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to continue on with a little bit more Pennsylvania news. The minimum wage is going to be a disaster. It's going to cost jobs. It's going to cost money. People are going to make more. Oh, there was one last thought on that. Say you are a receptionist for a doctor, and that doctor is a very nice guy, and he is paying you $15 an hour. When the minimum wage goes to $15 an hour and everything becomes more expensive, you will now be pushed down to minimum wage. You will now be a minimum wage employee. That doctor is not going to be able to afford to pay you more. He's not going to double your rate, your salary. He can't. So what is raising the minimum wage do? For those of us that make more than $15 an hour, basically it's going to push us back towards being a minimum wage employee. Those of you that are making $15 an hour, you will now become a minimum wage employee. And everything that was before priced at $7.25 an hour minimum wage is now going to be priced for $15 an hour. So your spending power just went away. And Suzanne unmuted, so I know she has something to add to this. Go ahead, Suzanne. What did you want to add to that?
Good morning and congratulations for a tremendous recovery. I couldn't do what you do producing and all this. So thank you again in advance. I always thank you when you produce my show. I guess I should man up or woman up and learn to do it myself, but hats off to you. You're doing a great job. The thing about minimum wage, this is another feel good proposition that the social justice warriors force the legislators to come up with. And the problem is we have this unintended consequences, and the very people that it's supposed to benefit, minorities, are the ones that are the first to suffer from this, to suffer the adverse impact of this law. They will lose their job. If somebody has to pay $15 an hour, they're going to pay the more educated college graduate student or college student, and those that were typically the minimum wage workers before, the minorities, will be out of a job.
And really, when you think about it, most of these minimum wage people that are employed at McDonald's, they are not your mom and dad. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it's a second job for mom or dad because they have some bills they need to pay. But for the most part, it is your high school kid that's trying to make money to pay for his insurance so he can drive his car.
Exactly.
And those high school kids are going to be out. If they have to pay $15 an hour, they're going to get somebody with a lot more experience, and that's going to be able to work and be there more hours and cover these shifts, because they're not going to have 25 or 30 high school kids doing it. They're going to have a couple well-educated, capable people doing that job. And the high school kids are going to be out of it's going to hurt high school kids the most. They're going to be the ones that will not be able to find jobs, because who's going to hire a kid for $15 an hour when they can hire an adult for that $15 that has experience?
Yeah. And the argument is typically, well, nobody can support a family on minimum wage. Well, it's not. If I'm sorry, but if all you can get is a minimum wage job, you're not ready to have a family. This is, as you said, high school kids are supposed to get these jobs. I remember my friends going and working at the deli in Los Altos, at Kentucky Fried Chicken. These are the jobs for kids that are responsible in school. But now, you know what? They're all on their Ritalin and Adderall and sitting there studying and doing their homework. We want to push off reality for as long as possible. But you don't see many high school kids working at these places anymore. And again, this is supposed to be an entry-level job. You're not supposed to be supporting a family. You don't want a high school kid trying to support a family on top of all this. So we're going to see people that are going to suffer. And again, these kids are going to be living off mom and dad's dole all the longer. And this is why we're also seeing this entitled class that just don't seem to think they have to work.
Right. So anyway, I'm not going to be on the minimum wage much longer on this, but it really will be a job destroyer. The kids, high school kids, will be the ones that pay the biggest price because they're not going to find the jobs that typically in the past. You know, when I was younger, I did some of these jobs minimum wage. I didn't make a lot of money, but you know what it was? It was spending money. It was money for my insurance so I could drive the car. It was just a summer job. But now, if they raise this to $15 an hour, and honestly, think about this: if the federal government decides, and this whole thing with federal minimum wages is ridiculous. There is no place in the Constitution that gave the government authority to set wages for businesses.
You can thank a woman for that first one, 25 cents an hour. I keep saying repeal the 19th Amendment.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying, right. Go ahead. Continue with your thoughts, Suzanne. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was going to make another statement. I forgot all about what it was. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's live radio, folks. You're seeing this in all its glory.
Without a net.
Yeah, without a net. That's one thing. You know, if anyone out there listening would ever like to, I can produce you if we find the right hours, and I can produce you. If you want to try live radio, I'll tell you how to get all set up. We'll get you set up. And
I remembered I was going to
try this. I'm going to finish this thought. You can hold on to it. Don't forget it.
I'm writing it down.
Well, I'll be glad to produce you. We'll get you on. If I can't, maybe Daniel can, and we'll get you on the radio. And then you can find out how hard it is to, just for an hour, to maintain a coherent thought. Because sometimes it doesn't happen very well. Go ahead, Suzanne. Go with that thought you had a minute ago.
I wrote it down. Now, what are we seeing as a result of these minimum wage laws? We're seeing all these computer kiosks in restaurants now. So at the same time now, we have all this technical innovation, loss of jobs. We're also importing all of these individuals that are qualified for nothing but these jobs that are going to be automated, and we're not curtailing that, or we see no desire to curtail that. So, that's something to think of as well, that the intentions of the people behind this stuff, I don't know what's motivating them, because this is going to bite us soon.
Yes. And I had a thought. I just remembered something I was thinking about this morning while I was preparing for this, when I read this article. Last night, we went out to dinner. And we had a very nice dinner. We went to a place up in Corning called Mooney's. And Mooney's is in the area that their number one thing is, and I see that another person I know from down near Addison, they probably know Mooney's, and they know what they're good for. They have great mac and cheese. So I got a side order, and it was probably about that big. Matter of fact, it's in my refrigerator because I couldn't eat it all. Of lobster mac and cheese. Oh my gosh, I love their lobster mac and cheese. So by the time the night was done, it wasn't a big bill. We spent $60. That waiter waited on us for maybe an hour. I don't think we were there quite an hour, but call it an hour. For that hour's worth of work, we left him a $12 tip. On top of that, the state requires him to get a per hour. So say the state requires $5 an hour because it's not minimum wage. So $12 plus his $5, he's already at $17 an hour. We were just one of his tables. He had other tables during that hour, and he made more money off of them. So his actual per hour for that period of time was probably $25 or $30 an hour by the time it was all said and done. There was a bigger table over there, and I'm sure their bill is quite a bit bigger. And if they're decent people and they leave a tip, he made a good tip off of that table too. So they raised this minimum wage to $15 an hour, drive my buying power down. He's making $15 an hour now. I'm not leaving him a tip. Honestly, if he's making $15 an hour, he's got a livable wage. Why would I leave him a tip now? Because my wages got driven down towards the minimum wage because I'm not going to get a raise. On top of that, if the minimum wage is not affecting economics, that it defies every rule of economics. If the minimum wage going to $15 an hour does nothing, it's a zero sum, it doesn't affect costs, it doesn't affect jobs, then make it $100 an hour. Why not? If $15 doesn't affect it defies every rule of economics, then then $100 can defy every rule of economics? I mean, think about this, folks. Really, government getting involved in this is going to cost jobs. It's going to cost you money because everything's going to cost more. That grocery store that's now going to be paying $15 an hour is going to have to raise the price on everything in that store to pay for that $15 an hour. It's going to cost you more. You're the one that's going to pay for it. See how government meddling and things they're not even supposed to be involved in? There is nothing in the Constitution of the United States. There's nothing in the PA Constitution that gives them the authority to raise a minimum wage. They have no authority to regulate the direct costs of businesses. All right. It's 31 after the hour. I am going to take a break so I can reset and come back and talk about some more PA news. I have a ton of stuff here to talk about. I'm not going to get to it all. This is the Cerberus Radio Network, and this is the Paradigm Shift. The Cerberus Radio Network defends liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny. You guys on Facebook Live are going to get to see me sitting here live because I have no way to stop this. And we're going to take this break right now. Thank you for listening, and we'll be right back after this.
Is this Brawndo stuff. The Brawndo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea. But Brawndo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look. The plants aren't growing. So I'm pretty sure that the Brawndo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Oh, well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brawndo's got what plants crave. Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know? It's what they used to make Brawndo. Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brawndo?
Because Brawndo's got electrolytes.
Suzanne Sherman shooting straight on everything from prepping to politics. The Wasatch Report, every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, on the Cerberus Radio Network. Cerberus Radio Network, protecting liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny.
Well, welcome back to the Paradigm Shift here on the Cerberus Radio Network, defending liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny. And as you heard during the break, Suzanne Sturman has a show at 10 a.m. Eastern on every Monday, except today because it's Wednesday. But she is going to have a live show immediately following the show at 10 a.m. Eastern. And she has her guest. She will have a guest, Ben McClintock, joining us during that show. So we are done with the whole minimum wage thing for now. We talked about that at length. So let's move on to some other PA news. Watchdog opposes reducing the size of the PA legislature. Harrisburg, a government watchdog group is opposing an effort to reduce the size of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. I'm just going to stop there with that because I'm going to get right to the thought on this because like I said, we got such a late start with the technical difficulties at the beginning of the show. So, PA, there's a let's see, who's the guy here? Lawmakers, including Representative Rob Kaufman, a Republican, Chambersburg, have proposed reducing the size of the House from 203 to 151. The measure has been moving steadily through the legislature. So there are Republicans that are trying to reduce the size of the legislature. So what does that actually mean? So let's say right now with 203, was it? 203. And the hits keep going. Hold on a second. All right, we're back. Like I said, today you're catching live radio, and everything that could possibly go wrong today is going wrong. That was my virtual mixing board that all of a sudden went haywire. And the reason I had to reset is because on Radio Co, they were hearing nothing but a lot of static. So, all right, hopefully we don't have any issues in the next hour, because I'm pretty wore out from all the technical issues in this hour. All right, where was I? Oh, Republicans want to reduce the size of the legislature. So now there's 203 guys and gals that are legislators, and they want to make it down to 151 or something like that. So now instead of that one legislator being close to you, so he may be from your county, and good grief.